This is False Start, a college football podcast for everyone and everyone else. I'm your host, John Buhler, lead writer for Fansided. I'm joined today by a man who I think didn't lose Warby Parker a lot of money today, who I think grew up Baptist but may now be Greek because of one Thomas Castellanos, Cody Williams, content director, fansided.com. How the hell are you?
Dude, it's been a day, man. Not
Yes,
not the day I expected in many, many ways, but it's been a day. I'm doing good, man, though. Feeling the vibes. How you doing?
I'm feeling pretty good too. Today, everything that we thought could happen did not happen. I think Lee Corso has been to the future.
Yeah, I mean, do want to shout this out because it's not gonna probably not gonna be part of the show, and I will forget it because it's late at night. But every team that Lee Corso has ever coached won today, which is a pretty cool way to send out the old ball coach. Like we love to see that.
Yeah, Florida State won, Maryland won, Northern Illinois won, Navy won,
Indiana
Il-
won.
Louisville won too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, really cool send off. And he was the only one to pick Florida State to upset Alabama on College Game Day, which was sick as well.
Yeah, shout out to LC, the living legend, just one of one. But yeah, I think that's just perfect because like his last day on game day gave us one of the maybe we're prisoner of the moments, but one of the most wild week ones we've ever seen. And we still have three more games left to watch.
Yeah, all of which could be absolutely bat-ass insane. Like, let's be
Yeah.
clear about that. Like, we're not done with the insanity yet, not even a little bit.
No, we got South Carolina, Virginia Tech in Atlanta, where I will be covering it alongside Michael Collins. Then we got Miami, Notre Dame with Catholics versus convicts afterwards. And then on Monday, your boys, North Carolina Tar Heels, led by Bill Belichick and G. Lopez, are welcoming Josh Hoover, Sonny Dykes, and the TCU Horned Frogs into Chapel Hill. What a world, man!
Hey, look, man, I saw someone mention this, and I'm not going to be able to get out of my head until Monday night. If Matt Patricia can make Arch Manning and Steve Sarkisian look like he did today, maybe Bill Belichick's going to make Josh Hoover look like dog ass as well.
But Matt Patricia looked like he lost some weight. Looks like he was taking care of himself. He looked
Didn't lose the
looked
pencil, though. Didn't lose the
no.
pencil, not even a little bit.
Uh, but he looks good here. So obviously we fall started today. This is 3 yards in a cloud of punt. For those unfamiliar with the show or did not watch week zero, every week after the Saturday night primetime game, Cody and I will be doing two segments called Run, which basically means we're buying it. And pass means we're selling it, and punt means hold. So we're basically doing Marty ball because that's what Marty Schottenheimer and probably Brian Schottenheimer is going to do for your team this year.
Yeah, I mean, not definitely not Ryan Day and Steve Sarkisian, who did not have the punt in their arsenal today. They were not about that.
No, also, you're doing okay in the post Michael Parsons world. I'm really sorry about that.
Brother, my everyone at work started immediately like I was off of work that day, and everyone immediately just started tagging me in like every snide comment, and all I would respond was "Go Sox." I'm a baseball fan now. NFL can kiss my ass.
It's we have crossed the Al Davis Rubicon a long time ago.
Oh yeah, I'm so done. I'm so done with Jerry Jones. Until like I'm not afraid to say this on the podcast. Until Jerry Jones dies, I'm not gonna invest my time and energy into the Cowboys.
That's okay. You know, that's fair. And I should probably do that with the Falcons, but I have a podcast. Definitely check that out with Blog and Dirty.
Hey, you know what though? If Michael Penix made Kalen DeBoer get the Alabama job, he might be doing damn good for the Falcons come Sunday, baby.
Hell yeah. Zach Robinson's your new NFL head coach here in a couple of
That's
years.
right.
All right, let's start. You got to run with something. Let's go with what
Yeah.
you got first.
Yeah, so I'm gonna run with LSU, game we just finished watching, LSU Clemson, and I'm gonna run starting with Blake Baker. I said it throughout the offseason, man. If this defense could find its own, like I picked LSU to make like this to be a this is the national championship preview. Hope that's not the case because this game was a little not even sloppy, just grind. It was a grind fest.
Yeah.
But the fact that LSU won a grind fest 17-10, that's not something we've seen in the past 2 years from LSU. It seems like this defense and the talent they added in the transfer portal, Blake Baker, it's all clicking right now because one of the themes throughout this Saturday, I think that we started with Texas and Ohio State. Defenses are always ahead of schedule when it comes to offenses. And I thought that Clemson had an advantage because a lot of this offense is the same offense we saw last year. There shouldn't be a real learning curve that we're having to catch up on here. And I'll be damned if Blake Baker and the LSU defense didn't make it look like they had a lot to catch up on because they came out there and they played a hell of a football game in the other Death Valley.
I was very impressed with really both defenses in this game. Tom Allen's side of the ball with Clemson, but Blake Baker came in here with a lot of flack, had a really tough first year with LSU after leaving Missouri. First order of business is, you know what? Besides putting Harold Perkins in a position to pass rush, we're going to go pursue you, Mansour Delane out of Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
Big day for guys who played at like Archbishop, wherever that school is. Malik Washington looked really good there for Maryland as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe he can save Locke's job. I doubt it, but we'll
No,
see.
no, Bobo's going to save his job here in Athens. But yeah, Blake Baker just it looked like the Mizzou defense from 2 years ago.
Hmm.
And I'll say this, like I felt bad for Klubnik in some ways because he was under duress the whole time. But when's Clemson ever had an offensive line worth a damn?
Yeah, I mean it's been since honestly thinking back, like maybe like Taj Boyd. I like since like they've started like competing for national championships. I can't remember one.
Yeah, like maybe the very beginning when Robbie Caldwell was there. It's been a long
Yeah,
time.
yeah, it's been a hot minute, and yeah, I mean you look at Cade Klubnik, and I think the other thing I'm running with and we're running with LSU as a whole is, there was a real juxtaposition with Cade Klubnik and how he handled being under duress and how Garrett Nussmeier handled being under duress. Because Cade Klubnik's the better athlete of the two. There's no doubt about it. He has the more physical tools to be able to evade pressure. And yet it was Nussmeier who looked calmer, who looked more collected, who looked more poised throughout the entire game, despite also being under duress. Like LSU was breaking in basically an entirely new offensive line against Clemson's defensive front, which had a nice game. Clemson's defense played, like you said, they played well, extremely well also, but it was how Nussmeier handled himself, particularly in the second half. Like I was very impressed with what Nuss was able to do in the second half. Obviously, it's not going to be the prettiest statistical game when it's 17-10 in the final score, but like Nuss didn't do anything today to hurt his Heisman case. And when you look at the other Heisman frontrunners, hell, they all did. So like you look at Arch Manning and Cade Klubnik, the other two frontrunners there, their odds are precipitously dropping. Nussmeier is not necessarily the same case.
Yeah, this is kind of why I've always been higher on Nussmeier versus Klubnik as a pro prospect. I kind of feel like with Nussmeier, it's like he's not afraid to get hit. Klubnik a little bit, and I think with Nussmeier, maybe it's the pedigree of. Also, shout out to Papa Doug being able to watch that game.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. But it was like Nussmeier just kind of played like, when you see a really good Matthew Stafford, Justin Herbert type of game, like I thought the ball came out of his hands much better, where it kind of felt like everything that Klubnik was doing was like off of one foot, throwing away like a basketball player. It was just kind of like, how are you really putting anything on your throws here? And really to kind of tie a bow on it with Nussmeier was like they took a touchdown away from him, and he still won
Uh,
anyway.
yeah, 100%. And like you talk about like that, I think that's what I mean when I'm talking about like the poise and calmness. Like even when he was off balance, he made the throw on balance. Like he took one step to get himself on balance. And we didn't see any of that from Cade Klubnik. Like you would see Klubnik whenever he was flushed out of the pocket, he's coming off platform a lot of the times. And like part of that is just the way quarterbacks come up through college football these days. Like you're playing a lot of 7-on-7. A lot of that is off platform stuff and like that. But like when you see someone who's like a real throwback, like you can tell that Garrett Nussmeier was raised by an old school NFL coach. Like that's really what it comes down to. There's a lot of old school footwork stuff that you really see with him, and we're seeing that taken even like at least tonight we saw it take another step from what we've seen previously.
Fantastic point here. I think there's also a dichotomy here with Nussmeier playing for Brian Kelly versus, Klubnik playing for a glorified wide receivers coach in Davis. I know that sounds really disrespectful, but that's what he is. But Garrett Riley's running the air raid here. Like
Hmm.
anytime there's like an air raid sort of guy, footwork's just not important. It's
Right.
just not, it's not their thing. Like we've seen Mahomes get in trouble with this, Caleb Williams get in trouble with
Yeah.
this. With like I said, everything with Nussmeier, I felt like he was throwing like his shoulders were like lined up. I felt like even if he wasn't making the pass, it was giving the team a better chance to like make to LSU to come down with it. And I thought that that's kind of testament to like maybe an underrated part of Brian Kelly's coaching staff and everything like that. Joe Sloan called a good game too.
No, he absolutely did. I will say in like some defense of Clemson, Antonio Williams leaving this game is a big deal. Like you look at what Nussmeier was doing down the stretch, and he was targeting his dudes, like capital D dudes, and like Clemson has a deep, good wide receiver core, but Antonio Williams is the capital D dude of that group. And so, like, not having him down the stretch, like, that's something that is working against you. Don't get me wrong. But the game was somewhat out of, like, not out of reach, but like, you were already behind the eight ball before we got to that point.
Yeah, your cousin Antonio, you don't call him Antonio, it's just dude.
It's just, that's just dude Williams, baby.
Dude, I love it, but I'm glad that we got a game like in prime time to live up to the hype and
Oh, yeah.
everything like that. The real battle for Death Valley happened, and there's just a lot of games today that went away that we didn't expect. We didn't expect that to go this way. Ohio State, Texas, and then certainly Alabama, Florida State.
We did not see that one coming, that's for sure.
No, it's like Luke Wilson at the zoo.
Yes, exactly.
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
No.
RG3 saying that versus Auburn and Baylor. You got anything else in this game, or you want me to run?
But dude, get running, man. We're at 3rd and 9 or 2nd and 9. We need another
Second,
run.
yes. I'm gonna run with I kid you not, 8 quarterbacks who certainly looked the part in their first game with their new teams. I'm talking about Tommy Castellanos at Florida State, Gunner Stockton finally starting at Georgia, John Mateer at Oklahoma, Joey Aguilar at Tennessee, Austin Simmons at Ole Miss, Jackson Arnold at Auburn, Dante Moore, first year as a starter at Oregon, and then Bryce Underwood there at Michigan. I think Castellanos and Stockton probably looked the best of those guys, but all 8 of them certainly had their moments where like this can work. This is something that their teams can really build around. And I think there was some uncertainty. I mean, it could have been worse. It could have been like Ty Simpson with Alabama.
It could have been like Ty Simpson with Alabama. As I've said to you multiple times already today, feel very validated about not believing in Ty Simpson. Um, but I'll start with Tommy Castellanos, the quarterback on the other side of that. I think he might be the perfect Gus Malzahn quarterback. Like that's really what I came away with this. Like Gus Malzahn was in his bag today. And one of the things we didn't see a whole lot of from Gus at UCF, and it was because of the talent that he had. There wasn't any like really pushing the ball downfield. Castellanos has the rushing ability that Gus obviously likes to use, but he also has the ability to throw it. Like he's not a bad passer of the football. And we saw him exploit Alabama with that the entire day. They were so scared of his so scared of his rushing ability that it opened up passing lanes down the field, and they took advantage of it continuously. And it helped, sure, it helped that they were ahead for most of the game, and that gives you, you have the front runner's advantage when you're on offense, when you're able to do that. You have Alabama kind of on their heels from the jump. But at the same time, like we did a whole segment a couple months ago about
Yes.
Tommy Castellanos, that, mouthing off, talking trash about Alabama and about how this is just going to bite him in the ass. Turns out he was absolutely right to say everything he said.
Yes, I also think that weather certainly had a factor in here. And any time that there's bad weather, it makes the perceived worst team have a better chance of winning. It's at home. Lee Corso picked you to win. Everybody outside of Tallahassee didn't think you were going to win this game. You went 2-10 a year ago. And then Castellanos comes in there with something to prove. He didn't really necessarily jive with Bill O'Brien, more of
Yeah.
a Jeff Hafley guy. Reconnects with Gus Malzahn. I think they were there for like 1 year at UCF. I mean,
Yeah.
but it's crazy that Gus Malzahn just didn't play him.
Dude, Gus Malzahn didn't play him, but it's also crazy that Gus Malzahn just kind of owns Alabama. It's a really weird
Yeah,
thing that just like keeps happening again and again and again. And like doesn't matter who's coaching Alabama. It's still that's Gus's child.
I know. Which I think is going to get easier.
That's right.
But it was just impressive, just dominating on both sides of the line. We'll talk about Alabama here in a little bit. I've got some thoughts on that too. We can move on to my guy, Gunner Stockton. Yes, I know they're playing Marshall. Yes,
Yeah.
I know this is at home. Yes, I know the Marshall that we saw this year is the equivalent to Southern Miss we saw last year, who still, I think, lost to Mississippi State. Shout out to Blake Shapen, Jeff Laban, the boys looking pretty good there in
Oh,
Hattiesburg.
only barely lost, but lost nonetheless.
It's fine, but Gunner Stockton just seems to be in his bag with Mike Bobo's offense. I mean, he's best
Mhm.
friends with his son, Drew. They're
Yeah.
roommates and everything like that. The threat of being able to run, just a very physical component from a runner. Like we haven't had that out of a quarterback really. Like Stetson Bennett a little bit, but like DJ Shockley kind of had this. Quincy Carter had some of this stuff too. But just you see Georgia being a run first heavy offense for the entirety pretty much of our lives. Now you have this wrinkle in there. You have guys like Nate Frazier backing him up, looking great. Dwight Phillips Jr. Joshua Cray only got like one carry, but I think he was like dealing with some sort of stomach ailment
Mhm.
for the last couple of weeks and stuff like that. But also able to get connected with Zachariah
Yeah.
Branch and spread the ball around. I don't know how good the Georgia offensive line is going to be, but like I feel that Stockton has the ability to kind of like overcome that a little bit more so than what we've seen out of Beck and other guys before.
So I'm not gonna lie to you, this game was not on a primary screen for me. I did watch parts of it, but like it was not on a primary screen. But when I did watch, I think the thing that stuck out to me between Stockton and Bobo was how much more of a comfortable pairing it seemed
Yeah.
like than it did with Carson Beck. Like Carson Beck, it felt very Mario Cristobal, square peg round holy. And
Look who's playing for it now.
exactly. And we'll get to see some of that tomorrow night. But like watching Gunner Stockton run Mike Bobo's offense, it seemed like Bobo was able to run what he wanted to run. Like the offense didn't look disjointed. Everyone seemed to be running on the same page. Like the fact that you have Zachariah Branch, a new piece, a new transfer coming in, and you're being able to find him for chunk plays consistently in this game. Like that means something to me. I don't care if you're playing Marshall. Like that's something that even against the worst of opponents with Carson Beck, you would still see things look disjointed. Georgia over the past couple of years with Carson Beck, we've seen them against inferior opponents kind of we've prescribed it as playing with their food, but it might have just been a simple like mismatch formulaically with what was going on with Mike Bobo and Carson Beck. And it felt different today.
Yeah, it seems like it fit pretty well, just like Stetson Bennett and Todd Monken's offense.
Yeah.
Maybe it looks different than what we saw with Matthew Stafford, Aaron Murray in
Oh yeah.
Bobo's offense, but like I guess David Green was the OC, maybe I don't know, but like like it's gonna work, kind of
Mhm.
sort of thing. And I love this team's going to go undefeated like I expected, but very happy with what I saw out of Georgia today. Some of these other quarterbacks here, I know you got some thoughts about Joey Aguilar, I'll go with that. He throws a much more catchable ball than Nico Iamaleava, and I think more importantly, like Josh Heupel trusts him. This is a very quarterback friendly offense. Tennessee, I don't think is going to pull back as much. Steve Angeli had a little bit of a hard time with the Tim Banks pass rush, but I think he kind of found his footing. Syracuse put forth a legitimate effort here. Again, I don't know how good both of these teams are, but like Aguilar's starting experience seems to be a reason why he won out and got the job, and Heupel seems okay with it.
My push, okay, I'll start positively. I'm trying not to be a complete ass about this. He did look good today. And there were times where I was like, okay, like you said, the experience is very clear, and it's clear that Hype will trust that experience. My question and where I am still a bit dubious. First off, I think this might be more of a Syracuse issue than it is a Tennessee issue. That's where it starts out. I think Syracuse's defense might just be dog water, like point blank, period. And the other part of that is going to get kind of forgotten if you didn't watch the entirety of this game because it did get kind of out of hand somewhat early. But in
Yeah,
the mid portions of this game, the offense kind of stalled. Once things kind of got off script a little bit, we saw the Tennessee offense kind of stall and kind of not really be able to have the same success as Syracuse started to find their footing, as Steve Angeli and the offense for Syracuse started to get in a little bit of a rhythm. That's worrisome to me because if you're Tennessee, you're in the SEC, man. You're gonna like you play Georgia in 2 weeks, and like you're not going to be able to get in the same rhythms that you did against Syracuse that you did against Georgia. And so like I worry about Joey Aguilar in those situations. I see your point about Tennessee not pulling back as much as we've talked about. Somewhat well taken. Like I don't think they're going to be a disaster. They're not going to be a dumpster fire or
no,
any stretch of the imagination. But I still look at this game and it doesn't make me feel any different than them being a 7 or 8 win team. Like I think that's
yeah.
what they're like. I think that they're going to be good. There's not really any chance in my mind of them being great with Joey Aguilar.
I'm a little nervous about the Tennessee game in 2 weeks, but again, Tennessee has a bottom quarter SEC schedule in terms of toughness with the likes of Mizzou, Ole Miss, and I'm blanking on whoever else is down there as well. But like they could probably win about 8 or 9 games pretty comfortably with this. But again, when you're going up against the big teams like this, I don't know.
Yeah, 100%. And like to be clear, like Joe Aguilar was good today. Like I don't want to, rain on the kids' parade, but like it wasn't exactly a performance or a matchup that necessarily changed my mind. Like just like I'm not gonna like go and write home about DJ Lagway because he played 2.5 quarters against Long Island and looked good.
For sure, for sure. Okay, I know we got 5 more guys to do. We're gonna do this pretty quick. I'm gonna kind of tie this together. Let's tie John Mateer of Oklahoma and Jackson Arnold of Auburn together.
Hmm.
Again, Mateer replaces Arnold. I'm gonna start more with Arnold first because I
Okay.
watched that game pretty intently on Friday night
Yeah.
versus Baylor. It was not going particularly great. It was kind of like I felt that like Jackson Arnold was having a hard time throwing the ball initially on Dave Aranda's defense, but he's like, you know what? I want to run the ball a little bit more. Auburn's got a little bit better athletes than Baylor does, and Sawyer Robertson again like is going to be a really good Big 12 quarterback, but against SEC competition, that might hurt him a little bit. But Jackson Arnold started playing with confidence, started really finding his targets there with Eric Singleton and Cam Coleman, really kind of being more of like the point guard of what Auburn needs. And really took a lot of pressure off of Hugh Freeze today. I think getting a big win on the road over a team in Baylor that we think very highly of in the Big 12, that's pretty good. I don't know if he's necessarily going to be a tremendous player, but like he has shown some growth from what it was a year ago. And I think he's at a better spot at Auburn now than where he was in Oklahoma a year ago.
Yeah, I think that so you're right. Like he definitely it almost seemed like early in the game, like there was still some scar tissue, quite frankly, is what it kind of looked like to me from what happened at Oklahoma. But one of the things I had a problem with at Oklahoma, which is less of a problem at Auburn, is the offensive line was dog water last year in Norman. Like absolutely terrible. And it's a pretty damn good offensive line here in Auburn right now. That definitely helped him gain some comfort level. But the other thing is I know like the more I think about it, the more I'm liking this comp. Jackson Arnold reminded me a little bit of Haynes King. And
Yeah.
like, if that's his future and you're going to play football that way, Hugh Freeze is a coach that will do whatever it takes offensively to put his quarterback in the best position to succeed. That was not the case last year at Oklahoma. They were saying play offense this way, and if not, you can get the hell out of here. And like, that's not, you know, that obviously did not work out well for Jackson Arnold. This seems like the right place for Jackson Arnold to become the best version of what he can be. He's probably like was the 5-star rating probably a little egregious? Yeah, probably it was. But at the same time, Haynes King has been a damn good quarterback. Haynes King beat Colorado last night. Like Haynes King has made a nice college career for himself. Jackson Arnold can do the same, except now you're at Auburn and you have better talent around you. So the ceiling's probably higher for you if you have Haynes King on that kind of team.
And then like I love that comparison. Haynes King like did not play particularly great versus Colorado, but in winning time he made it count.
Mhm.
And maybe Jackson Arnold can find that and be a better version of that. More, yeah, he just has like a longer track record, a better team, better athletes and stuff like that. So I'm a big fan of that. I'll move on to John Mateer real quick, and then we'll go
Yeah,
with the other three, and then we'll get on to the second half of 3 yards in the cloud of fun. With Mateer, um, I understand it was Illinois State for Oklahoma, but like this is one of those games where like Oklahoma under Brent Venables, like every game I just fear that they're going to lose.
yeah,
And with Mateer out there, it felt like okay, this is a guy who is well versed in Ben Arbuckle's offense. Like no S, he played it at Washington State
yeah.
last year, but it just kind of felt like I'm trying to think what the word is like the Josh Beckett Florida Marlins, like we don't know that we're not supposed to beat these people, but we are. But even though it's Illinois State, it's like I feel that with Mateer at Oklahoma, they're not going to be afraid of anybody. Like they could beat Texas
That's
potentially.
that's something. So with Mateer, I agree with you. It looked like a miles better than anything we saw from Oklahoma's offense, regardless of level of competition last year. And that's a plus. Like you have a passing offense now. That is very clear. Your wide receivers are healthy. You have a more functional offensive coordinator who has a relationship with your quarterback who is talented. Like you're trending in the right direction. They put up 35 points, and Jaden Zackott didn't really have to do a whole hell of a lot of anything in this game.
No.
And so, like, that's a very good sign if you're Oklahoma. The one thing that has me somewhat worried about our boy Moneyline Mateer is when you go back to his time at Washington State, and this goes to Arbuckle as well, when the level of competition ramped up for Wazoo, we saw them kind of pull back a little bit. And so
Mhm.
like I do wonder what that looks like. Like when you talk about them beating Texas, like that's where I'm like, are we there
Mm.
yet? I don't know yet, but there are more positive signs of Oklahoma being in like in that being in the realm of possibility for Oklahoma than it was last year. And so like you're trending in the right direction.
Congratulations, you're Cade Klubnik. That's what you are.
Right.
And then it kind of grouped the last three together with Austin Simmons at Mississippi, at Ole Miss, Mississippi, whatever, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Bryce Underwood at Michigan, and then Dante Moore at Oregon. Okay, we all thought that the Rebels, the Ducks, and the Wolverines were all going to win today, but there wasn't really anything out of any of these quarterbacks that led us to believe like, oh, there might be some trouble. Simmons did turn the ball over a little bit. I think with Underwood, he leaned very heavily on Alabama transfer Justice Haynes. I bet Caleb DeBoer wishes he still had him.
Yeah, because Alabama couldn't run the ball today, but we'll get there in a second.
No, and then obviously Dante Moore just looks like plug and play with Will Stein. Austin Novosad looked pretty good in relief as well, but like it seems as though like having a guy who's been experienced is going to work in Oregon. It's always going to be a transfer, but like all three of those guys, like they're going to win their team's games this year.
No, 100%. And I saw a stat at the end of the Michigan game that really stood out to me, and it speaks to Bryce Underwood because obviously they had talented running backs last year with Kyle Mullings and Donovan Edwards. Like running back talent was not an issue for the offense last year. They averaged 3.1 yards more per play than they did last year tonight. And like that's a Bryce Underwood thing. And like I'm not again, it's New Mexico. New Mexico is very bad this year.
Yes.
And you only won by 17 points. Like I'm not like saying Michigan's going to be a world beater this year, but like if you're a Michigan fan and you watched it, Bryce Underwood's debut, you're feeling good about it. And the same is true with the other two. Like, yeah, Austin Simmons is probably gonna turn the ball over. You know who else has turned the ball over? Every other Lane Kiffin quarterback that has ever
Yes.
existed. Like that's just kind of a function of the offense. They still put up 50 points. Like it doesn't matter. And so like at the end of the day, like all three of these quarterbacks, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like they're gonna win these teams games, and like they all three of them have the right guy in place. I think is the real message.
Oh yeah, and, we're looking at Ole Miss, we're looking at Michigan maybe in the Oregon, like Ole Miss and Oregon, like we have like in the playoff contenders, and Michigan's probably like in the first few out at this point. We'll see what happens, but like these quarterbacks, if they level up, like they'll get the teams in the playoffs and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan looked like more of a playoff contender than Alabama. That's for sure.
Yeah. Do we want to? I think we want to pass here. Do you want me to take this or you take it?
I'll go ahead and take it. So we're going to pass on three teams, starting with Alabama. We're going to pass on three teams that we came into the season thinking were college football playoff contenders and certainly didn't look like it over the first week or 2 weeks in some cases. And that's Alabama, Boise State, and Kansas State.
Yeah.
Uh, we'll start with Alabama, man. Look, I'm not here to take a victory lap, but like I've been telling y'all, I watched Ty Simpson play quarterback before. It's not good. It's really not good. And he came out today against Florida State, a team that you mentioned won 2 games last year, and he looked like he didn't deserve this job. And like it blows my mind that Kalen DeBoer handpicked Austin Mack to come with him from Washington to Alabama, and you have 5-star Keelan Russell, and this is the guy that won the quarterback competition. What the hell did the other two look like? What are we doing here? But like Florida State was able to take so much advantage of that. I mentioned that they couldn't run the ball. I don't think Justice Haynes would have made a difference in this game because Florida State was putting 8 guys in the box because they knew Ty Simpson couldn't beat them throwing the ball. It was disastrous.
So you lose a game that you're expected to win. This is a team that we thought had a 10-2 ceiling. Oh, and you still got to play Georgia in Athens. You still got to play Tennessee. What we saw of the Dogs and Vols today, like we got to play LSU. We've seen all
If
three
you
of those
start
teams.
Ty Simpson against any of those three teams, you might score negative points. I don't know how that's possible, but you might.
Interceptions and everything like that. This goes back to like just the Kalen DeBoer of it all. Like I think he's a good head coach. He's so over his skis. This is starting to kind of get to some Brian Harsin level.
Mhm.
I'm really concerned here. Just delegating. Like have some accountability. Do something. When you delegate, that basically means you can be eliminated because you don't do a damn thing.
Mhm.
It didn't matter that Ryan Grubb came over from Seattle. It didn't matter like if that you still kept Nick Sheridan, Jamarcus Shepard, Kane Womack, Maurice Linguist, your special teams coordinator. You have six coordinators. It doesn't matter at all. It's I understand that the weather was an issue, and I think Simpson played as well as he could have, but he's kind of like relatively limited here. Maybe Jam Miller could have made a difference, but like Nick Saban was coaching this team 2 years ago. This doesn't look like I'm expecting a guy to have his helmet propped on his head like Brody Croyle, just some Jay Cutler looking sad boy nonsense. Like it feels like this is like the departure from the end of Gene Stallings. It's just like
Yeah.
it's become that 15 years of just suck.
Yeah, and like, well, first off, like Alabama, you got $70 million lying around because that's what his buyout is, brother. So I mean, look, I wrote today like never say never. We watched Texas A&M pay $77.6 million to fire Jimbo Fisher. It's Alabama. Anything could possibly happen to get the like if they really want to move on from Kalen DeBoer at some point. So, but throwing it out there, it is $70 million buyout that we're talking about here to get him out. But the thing that's more concerning to me than Ty Simpson, this was supposed to be like a throwback Alabama defense. This was supposed to be the best defense in the country, and Florida State put 31 points on you with a Boston College transfer at quarterback. Like that's the most concerning thing to me is you have all this NFL caliber talent on defense and an offense that is basically completely remade in the transfer portal this offseason, has a new offensive coordinator, has reshaped everything that they're doing had their way with you. And like I understand your points about the weather. Florida State was up before it started raining. Like that's just the point blank blunt truth of it. Florida State was in control of the game before the weather started. And yes, that may have helped them like maintain that. But I would also argue that yes, it gives the underdog an advantage, but it also gives the better defense an advantage. Like if you're talking about a game where offense is going to be sloppy because of the weather, that should give an elite defense, which Alabama was supposed to be, an advantage. And it wasn't at all. So like I am deeply concerned about what this Alabama team is under Kalen DeBoer.
Look, I'll believe it when I see it when Georgia actually beats them in the
Yeah.
southeastern United States. Like that would be really cool for me and everybody in my family and everything like that. But like this has become really decadent. This almost feels like the end of the beginning of the end for like Mac Brown at Texas.
Yeah.
Like it's starting to kind of look like, oh, we can just show up with the helmet and win. Like Florida State's got a lot of pride. Florida State's historically a top five program all time. They had a year from hell. They had the worst year they've ever had.
They
Like
had DJU, bro. Like like I think that my biggest takeaway from week one of the 2025 season is DJU is so ass. Like that's really what I come away with.
the, you're gonna have to put it behind a paywall what I have to say about DJ. Just
Subscribe to the Patreon that we don't have.
yeah, so just pay me on Venmo and I'll tell you.
We'll get on Cameo and Bueller will get unfiltered.
Speaking of Cameo, this guy pays Mark McGrath of Sugar Ray to give most like ridiculous cameos ever, talking about how he may have fathered some kid out of wedlock at a Sugar Ray concert, trying to bring it to his wife. Wasn't true though, but Mark McGrath said it.
If Mark McGrath says it, it's probably true. Come on.
I guess tie a bow on this with Alabama before we get into Boise State and Kansas State. Again, like those two programs, like we're gonna like really go in on it as well. It doesn't matter what the buyout is at this point. The program's starting to look like some Mark Helfrich nonsense.
Yeah.
Go pay whatever it takes to get Dan Lanning to come back
Or Lane Kiffin.
or Lane Kiffin. Like just go pay.
Or hear me out. I painted this case today in the same post where I was talking about never say never with $70 million buyouts these days. I think we can both agree that the ACC is not in an advantageous situation in the Power Four landscape right now.
You go pay Dabo
I was about to say, is there amount of money you could go pay Dabo Sweeney? Because if you like, if I'm Alabama, that's my number one target.
because he'd bring it back. He's like, we got to have guys playing with guts. He's like, I'm a walk on, growing up in pretty much poverty, playing for
Mhm.
Gene Stallings. Like I can make this happen. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, you're not going to get Sark or Kirby to come back, but
No,
I think anybody else, like, you could do it. Hell, give Loxley the job. Loxley would do a better job than this.
yeah, I mean,
Give Brian effing Daboll the job.
hell yes, I'm here for it.
Pete Golding, come on down,
Oh
brother.
hell yeah, hell yeah. Now we're cooking. Now we're cooking.
And speaking of cooking, oh man, Boise State, what a terrible waste of a pick that was. UCF, no, USF just matador them. Like it was bulls on parade. Uh Boise just uh that was probably the most like of all the losses, that was probably the most stunning, I think, of
Yeah.
anything that happened this weekend because, like, yes, we think very highly of South Florida, but Boise State, we thought like, oh, they're definitely going to cakewalk here. Not really a good week for the Mountain West, although UNLV could be interesting.
Yeah, UNLV still has my interest. I think the most shocking part is you have a defensive head coach in Spencer Danielson, and man, that defense did not look very good. Not
No,
look good at all. And like there were always going to be some growing pains for Maddox Madsen. Like you don't have Ashton Genty to rely on to like make things easier for you as a quarterback. Like, yeah, you're gonna have to deal with that learning curve. But yeah, you're right about the shocking like element of it. Like Boise State, yeah, it's a G5 game early in the season. Anything is on the table, except I didn't feel like a 34-7 game was really on the table coming into this one in favor of USF.
no, but it's USF. I mean, like when we do playoffs, you kidding me on Monday? I mean, I'm not going to rule out putting them in the group of five spot. I think
No.
people are very high on Byron Brown at quarterback, and for as good as South Florida has been defensively under Alex Galesh, like he's still an offensive minded coach. So
Yeah.
maybe he's finally got a guy that can unlock the offense to the way that they want. But Boise, like I can't see a way for them overcoming that big of a loss in non-conference. Yes, it was in Tampa, but like Boise can go play and win anywhere. That's what the program was built on, and it didn't seem like he traveled well.
No, and I mean it's especially bad when you have UNLV opening week 0 and week 1 at 2-0. You have Tulane going out and picking up a P4 win over Northwestern in pretty convincing fashion. Like that's not really stacking the deck in your favor if you're Boise State.
No, and then like, Navy looked pretty good against a lower
Yeah.
school, but like there's other
Not
teams
Army,
now.
not Army.
No,
Shouts to
no.
Tarleton State. Nope.
Uh, it's not Toledo either. They lost to Kentucky. Um,
Hey, shouts to Kent State while we're here,
yeah.
getting their first win in 21 games.
I forget who the interim head coach is, but he's got as many as Kenny Burns did.
That's right. It might have been over Merrimack. They might have failed to cover against Merrimack, but you got the win.
100%, but like Boise, like I don't know what you can do. Like you're not gonna hang tough versus Notre Dame or anybody else like that in your schedule, and just the Mountain West unless you upset UNLV and UNLV wins the rest of their games. Like where are you gonna have a quality win to overcome that tough of a loss?
Yeah, it's going to be really tough for Boise State just to have a path to the playoff. Like I'm not ruling out them winning the Mountain West because it's the Mountain West. Things get weird in the G5 sometimes. And like we've seen plenty of instances in both the P4 and the G5 of teams going into the non-conference, playing with their food, and then finding their groove at the right time in conference play. So like not ruling that out, but this puts you really behind the A ball to be the highest ranked G5 team, is really what it boils down to.
And it's doubly bad, like you said, with Tulane looking great with Jake Retzlaff over the Wildcats. Poor David Braun.
Not great. Not great.
No, that might be the worst team. Oh, shout out to Purdue beating the snot out of Ball State today. Barry
Yeah.
Adams, good coach.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Barry, we knew like it's when we get into Big Ten play, we should remember that Barry Odom is still a good coach because there's going to be some games where it's not going to look that way, but like Purdue's in the right hands. Be patient, Boilermakers.
I don't know if they're playing Wisconsin. I'm writing a lot of Wisconsin content here. Luke Fickle.
You know,
Yeah.
thanks. I mean,
Um,
Billy Edwards Jr. going down is not great for the stock. It seems like he'll
no.
be back soon-ish, so that's good. But yeah, not great.
Um, Alabama's beatable now, so that's you got that going. I would expect Danny O'Neal to play versus Middle Tennessee, and they lost.
Yeah, shouts Derek Mason.
You can take the man out of Vanderbilt, but you can't take the Vanderbilt out of the man here. And
Old
then,
Vanderbilt, new
oh man,
Vanderbilt's cruising, baby.
yeah, looking great versus Charleston Southern, and
That's right.
a team that used to be hellacious ass back before we were born under Stan Parrish. Kansas State, you almost lost to North Dakota after losing Farmageddon to Iowa State last week. Look, I know asking people to play like a week later after being in Dublin like is a tall ask, but Iowa State didn't have a problem with their team. Iowa State looks good, like against similar competition.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the travel from Dublin is not easy. I fully get that, but you made the exact right point. Like, didn't bother Iowa State. Rocco Beck played damn good, and Avery Johnson didn't play that great, and he didn't play that great in Farmageddon either. And man, it is. The more I think about it, there's nothing they can do about it at this point. But like the decision to move on from Will Howard in favor of Avery Johnson looks more questionable by the day.
Yeah, it's like I understand he's homegrown. I understand that Kansas doesn't have this many players or prospects, but like to usher Will Howard out, who won a national championship at Ohio State in 1 year, like that is very questionable. But everything that I've seen out of Kansas State up to this point, like there's nothing that leads me to believe they're going to be a top four team in the Big 12
No.
because Arizona State's still Arizona State. Iowa State looks really good. Texas Tech looks really good,
Mhm.
and somebody else will emerge here. I mean, I know Baylor had a tough game versus uh, Auburn. Colorado had its moments, but lost to Georgia Tech. Like I kind of trust them a little more than Kansas State right now in some capacities.
Utah is currently up 23-7 at halftime. Devin Dampier has 92 passing yards and 78 rushing yards. So I'd say Utah's up there for sure.
Kansas beat the snot out of Wagner. That's another team. Like
Oh
there's
yeah.
other. The point is like what we've seen out of the first six of Kansas State's season is not top half Big 12 material.
No.
Like they're not going to be ranked when we start. Like they're like 17. Like, are you kidding me? Like there's no
Yeah, I mean, and to be clear, the AP doesn't update after the AP
week
top
seven.
25 doesn't update after week 0. So like they probably would have dropped out after that loss. But now after you win in the last minute against North Dakota, you're sure as hell not going to be in there. Like you don't have a shot, like a snowball's chance in hell of being in there.
I know we crossed all three of these teams off. I, I Alabama could could reemerge at some point just because Texas lost. It's weird.
Let me uh, okay, two things need to happen for me to say that. One, you need to have anyone other than Ty Simpson in at quarterback. I'm done. I've seen enough. I'm all set. I'm good. He is not a high level college football quarterback. Like let him go play somewhere else in the G5. I don't care. But he is not the quarterback of Alabama.
Go play for his
That
dad at UT Martin. Just go do that.
yeah, literally anything other than being in Tuscaloosa, that's the first step that needs to happen. Secondly, I need to see this defense play up to its potential. And like maybe that's a game where things don't just kind of get off the rails against Florida State. Maybe it's just a normal game where you have Jam Miller to be able to, control the ball on the offensive side a little bit. Whatever it needs to be, but I need to see this defense play to its potential before I'm willing to buy back in on Alabama. But until both of those things happen, I'm going to remain quite dubious about this. And coming out of the loss to Florida State, haven't seen anything that's suggesting that a quarterback change is coming. So we'll see.
When you have too many cooks in the kitchen, you don't cook anything. This is fust.
You just
Eh.
wasted a lot of product.
It's like bar rescue. How many drinks did you pour out?
How many drinks did you have?
Whatever's in that bucket, I drank all that. No, no product left behind. And yeah, I'm gonna get us out of here with some punt here. The signature game of the week here was Ohio State outlasting Texas, I believe, what 14 to 7, if you will. Um, it may be a little bit too premature to, throw dirt on Arch Manning and Julian Sayin. I have plenty of criticism, and I will do that in this segment. But like, I think that both Texas and Ohio State's defenses are really good, but obviously the quarterback play for both of those teams is not anywhere close where it needs to be championship caliber. Again, these are two teams, along with Georgia, that have to completely reload from what they had a year ago. Notre Dame as well, which we'll see more on Monday, tomorrow, Sunday versus Miami. See how they go. But like, there were things that Sayan did that I liked. Arch Manning played better when it really counted, but not great performances for either of them.
No, no, it definitely wasn't anything to write home about, but I'm glad we're punting on this just because like you go back to what you were talking about with some of the quarterbacks that were breaking into new spots, and like not all of them were our first time starters. Like obviously Tommy Castellanos has a ton of starts under his belt, so that's a different situation. But you look at the guys that are first time starters. You look at Austin Simmons. You look at ostensibly Jackson Arnold. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt because it's the first time he started in a normal situation that wasn't Oklahoma of last year. And you look at Bryce Underwood. They're all walking in to games where they're facing inferior competition by a pretty wide margin. Like you have just a talent advantage. Texas and Ohio State didn't have that advantage today. Like it was pretty like it was an ugly game because of the talent that's on both defensive side of the ball. It's not just talent, it's experienced talent. Like Ohio State has a new look defense from what they had a year ago, particularly up front. But all of these guys have played a lot of snaps because most of them came from the transfer portal. You look at someone like Bo Atkinson, who had close to double-digit sacks for North Carolina last year, and he's starting on the end there, replacing JTT or Jack Sawyer, whichever one. But like those are what those quarterbacks are up against. They didn't get a ramp up period to like get into a groove with these new offenses and stuff like that. And like that goes back to the point I made about defenses being ahead of schedule. Like when you have these elitely talented defenses like Ohio State and Texas do, yeah, the offense is probably not going to look up to peak efficiency. Like neither team ran the ball particularly well. Texas ran it a little bit better than Ohio State, but not a whole hell of a lot. Like the offenses as a whole just really didn't have a whole hell of a lot of juice. Ohio State took control of the game because of two penalties from Texas's defense. That's really when they were able to take control of this game. Like Texas was about to get the defense off the field and potentially get the ball back. And it was if I'm not mistaken, it was a holding penalty that got Ohio State a first down that kept the drive alive, got them deeper into territory. So like these offenses weren't impressive, but like I saw enough flashes from both quarterbacks to like definitely not give up on.
Like Arch Manning better be thanking his lucky stars. He had a really good fourth quarter because he was
Yeah.
ass for the first three quarters. Like
I will say,
he
Sarge
was
didn't do him any favors, man.
no, no,
Like,
no,
how
no.
are you not like Arch Manning is athletic as hell. Like, that's one of his best traits is his ability to run. That's all they used him for last year. And if in the first half, I think there was one designed run for Arch Manning. That's malpractice. If you're trying to get a dual threat quarterback comfortable in his first like legitimate start, especially on the road in Columbus against the reigning national champions, and you're not going to let him use his legs, that doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense to me. And like I'm not absolving Arch Manning a blame because like he had some passes that I'm like there was one where someone put it side by side with Uncle Rico throwing by his trailer and Napoleon Dynamite, and God, if it wasn't the same form. But like, and he was also like he was throwing fastballs like he's Joe Milton 5 yards in front of him. Like there were some moments where Arch Manning was not good. But some of the blame does lie on Steve Sarkisian because this was a classic Sark, taking a big dump in the bed game.
Yes, there's like Sark versus Ryan Day. Something had to kind of give here. You got to use Arch's legs a little bit more here. I think there were some moments there with Arch, like it looked kind of like Uncle Eli, where I'm just throwing it, and where it goes, it goes.
Mhm.
In terms of Julian Sayin, he looked a little small out there, but I also noticed that like he just has, I think, just a more established receiving core. Like Carnell Tate
Yeah.
really built him out. Jeremiah Smith had a tough day for the Buckeyes, but there were things in play there where like Brian Hartline should not be like going toe for toe with Steve Sarkisian.
No,
Like that shouldn't be happening. Like Matt Patricia, Pete Kwiatkowski, okay, sure, that's
yeah.
totally fine. But like I don't know. There were more positive moments I saw out of Julian Sand compared to Arch Manning, and I think really the big thing is like the game hasn't slowed down for Arch yet,
Yeah.
and that's kind of and maybe it will, but again, like he can't play like that versus Florida or Georgia. Like you're not winning in Athens or Gainesville like that.
No, but at the same time, like I would point out Julian saying, if you play like that against Penn State, you're gonna have a bad time.
You play like that against Michigan, you're not winning either.
Yeah, exactly. So like,
You play like
but
that against Michigan State, you're not winning.
yeah, I mean, either of the Michigan teams, you're not winning those games. But like again, I'm not trying to throw dirt on either of these guys' seasons. Like this this was a big ask for both of them. Like I think that's one thing that can't be like overstated about this game. Like if you're Arch Manning, you're going on the road to Columbus, one of the toughest road environments in college football, against the reigning national champions with a defense that doesn't, rebuild, it reloads, like truly the definition of what Ohio State does against an like a former NFL defensive coordinator who has Super Bowl rings like that he's wearing onto the field. Big ass for Arch Manning. So yeah, I understand why the game was looking a little fast for him out there. Same with Julian Sayin though. Like you're staring down the barrel of Colin Simmons, who's going to be playing on Sundays next year. Like you're staring down the barrel of Malik Muhammad, of Anthony Hill. Like a bunch of dudes that will be playing on Sundays in the very near future, and a defensive coordinator, and Pete Kwiatkowski that I, will champion most of the season to be a head coach next year. Like big ask for both of them. I think as we see like a little break in the schedule before we get back into conference play, we'll see a lot better from these quarterbacks and see them develop a little bit more comfort.
And I think that's fair. I know we talk about Julian Sands' nickname is Gnome. You know what his middle name is?
What's that?
ROC, Rock J Rock.
Yeah.
I did see some tweet or something from Jonathan Torrens, the guy who plays him in Trailer Park Boys, said like, my dad passed away when I was 8 years old, and some other dad was always out there to tie my ice skates when I would go play hockey. So like, be a good person today. And I'm like, that's it's all about.
Just go be a good person today. The day is almost over, so go be a good person tomorrow.
Uh, we've been over this and over this. You can't not be feeling this because this was 3 yards to the cloud of punt here on False Start. You can follow me, John Buhler, on Twitter at the X at Buhler118. You can follow Cody Williams at the Sizzle20. You can follow the show at CFB False Start. Like, rate, listen, subscribe, review on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere there's podcast. Give us a 5-star review. Can't top last ones because the morning and then the night. Like
Oh yeah, 100%.
week one's been fantastic. Still got 3 more games here. Again, we'll talk about that more on Labor Day whenever we do record. Just because you're not working at Labor Day doesn't mean that we aren't or we are. I don't know. It's
We're
football
we're
season.
we're posting an episode on Labor Day. That's what I can tell you, man. The English language is escaping me at this point.
The English language is escaping me, and Thomas Castellanos escaped Boston College because this is false start.